Now that's some good coffee. Although it's different. It's a different blend than I'm used to. That's a good question of the day. Do you drink coffee? And if so, do you always have the same type of coffee? Or are you a coffee connoisseur? Looks like we are streaming live on Facebook, so let me share this to the groups. If you're not in TNAM's The Agree to Disagree Show, or TNAM Fake News, Debunking Conspiracy Theories and Propaganda, and TNAM Preparedness, you should join these private groups on Facebook. And if it asks, why are you joining this private group, say Brian sent you. Join our live show right now, I say. Kablamo, no spell checks. Looks like Rumble is streaming. And let me pull up the chat room and get things going here. Fantastic. The TNAM AM Show, the new American media. Here we go. Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere in between two formerly tariffed nations. My name is Brian Engelman. Today is Friday, April 18th, 2025, and this is the TNAM AM Show here on the new American media. Thank you for joining us today. Please leave your comments, however you're watching. Type your name, say hello, leave it in the comments section. We will try to incorporate you into the program. Add your jokes, add your comments, add your questions. Kind of add your commentary. Very interested to get your thoughts. And as always, please, when you type, because I'm juggling stories here and I'm on 9 different topics, and when I go back to glance at what you had to say, please type in sentences. Like if you just go, that's crazy, I can't do anything with that. But if you go, it's crazy that Killamar guy, that's the #1 story in the world right now. He's Schrodinger's court case. He's Schrodinger's deportation. He was legally in the country. He was illegally in the country. He beat his wife and had a restraining order against him, but he never had any problems in the criminal justice system. He wasn't convicted of anything. He's had 2 trials. He's had no trials. He was accused of crimes. No, he wasn't. He was accused by a dirty cop who's no longer a cop anymore. Kilmar. Schrodinger's cat. The cat's both alive and dead at the same time. Kilmar. Well, he's got the word kill in his name. He's an MS-13 member. No, he's not. That's never been proven. Well, what if you were thrown into an El Salvadorian prison? Am I from El Salvador? How would that happen? These are the conversations that I'm having offline with some of my friends. The story is being reported 2 completely different ways. Maryland man. Maryland man is an El Salvadorian. I can't make sense of this story. The long and short of it is the libertarians are demanding 1 more court case because he's had 0, but he's had many. Okay. No, see, the court cases he was involved with, he was accused of something, but he was never actually convicted, so he's an innocent man, and we're all innocent unless proven guilty. Okay. Then why are they all reporting it a different way? Is it because Trump can't admit losing anything ever? And I know that's the whiplash effect. That is the blowback, as Dr. Ron Paul told us. There's blowback. When we decide to do things, there will be repercussions, mind you. The blowback of being falsely accused of stuff non-stop is that you never apologize. Back in the day, public relations professionals used to say, all right, here's what you do. And I took courses on this. Like, I'm trying to remember what the class was. It a public relations course? Because I got a journalism minor. I was going to double major, actually. I was going to come back and take some more classes if I could. Didn't need to. But the prevailing theory was, hey, well, get out in front of something. If you're out there, go out, issue a statement, apologize, get out in front of it, kind of own up to it, like you got to face the music. Now it's like everybody's lying about everybody. What do I need to get involved? No, I'm not going to admit anything. I'm not going to apologize for a joke that somebody took the wrong way. You start apologizing, it's over. If you give a mouse a cookie, he'll ask you for some milk. You've heard that, right? If you give a mouse a cookie, he'll ask you for some milk. And so maybe Adam Carolla has talked about this at length. I do enjoy his show. It's just, like you don't apologize. No, you double down. And that's kind of what Trump is in the same vein. And the both of them were on Celebrity Apprentice together, actually. So I don't know. Is this a simple case where you should just say, all right, bring this guy back, have one more hearing, determine, is he an MS-13 gang member? Is he not? Is he beating his wife? Is he not? Is the lady in Maryland man's life, is that in another illegal alien, or is that a green card, what do they call, anchor baby? I don't know. I don't have all the details in the case. You know what else we don't have all the details on? We don't have all the details on that shooting at the college campus at Florida State yesterday, do we? We got some. We got a bunch of erroneous reporting. But I grant clemency. I grant leniency as we all unpack the news together. We're all trying to find out what's going on, and nobody's an expert. Even the experts get things wrong. Hey, remember COVID? Yeah. That's where under duress, I will direct you to go look up countervailing views on health and elections. It's cdc.gov, who.int, and cisa.gov/rumor control for elections and COVID. There's your countervailing views. Don't delete my video, YouTube. But let me put up the places to follow the New American Media, and we're going to jump into all of the stories that we're going to unpack today. Go to these sites and type in the New American Media, please. Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitch, Kick, DLive, YouTube. Search the New American Media. We're on Telegram and Signal at TNAM and TNAM Chat, TNAM and TNAM Chat. On X at American_media_, and subscribe to our podcast. You search The Agree to Disagree Show. That's a division. That's the umbrella that encapsulates the TNAM AM Show, and what will probably be sometime in the future, the TNAM PM Show. The late night hangout that Blake Wally had repeatedly dreamed about. Not dreamed, but he's like, I don't know. I just see Agree to Disagree being like a late night hang. And I'm like, I'm not there yet. It's okay. Check out Blake. He's doing Eccentric Perspective on his channels. The Next Level News. But yeah, we will probably be a late night show at some point. But yesterday, check out our special show. Yesterday was a travel day, and we did get to work in one program. It was not the TNAM AM Show. It was strictly football. Where would I have that posted? Probably on my profile. There it is. Here, let me share this with you. Kablamo. Strictly. There you go. Here is the show from yesterday. Check it out. Watch it, share it, comment on it. Who are the three best NFL free agent signings from the 2025 offseason? There we go. There's our comment. We will leave that and post that, pin that. Yes, I would like to pin. So please check out that show. It is strictly football on Rumble and YouTube, and you can find it on X. Please do that. Also, for anyone who likes to contribute to independent media, I love talking about the news with you. I love talking sports. I love talking music. I love talking about all the things. The places you can assist us, you can link up with us on Patreon at The New American Media. Venmo, you could shoot something over at Brian Engelman. Cash App, $ Brian Engelman, and at Fuzz Installment on PayPal. So those are the places you can check out what's happening. All right, let's jump into the news and go through it. If you have comments, please type them in. Hey, David. David said, I liked the football show. That's cool, David. Thank you. David's up in Ontario, so you have the Canadian Football League. You have several teams named the Rough Riders. Is that accurate? David, was this your first experience checking out either the Unhappy Hour Sports Show, which is this? By the way, if anyone wants some coasters, these are $30 a set. That includes shipping. They're wooden, Ohio burned, Ohio made creation, the Unhappy Hour Sports Show with the beer logo. Or it's $30 for this one, the Unhappy Hour Sports Show coasters. There's 4 of them. See how thick they are, shaped like the state of Ohio. And there's the Unhappy Hour pin. See the pin in there? That's $25. So sets of 2 coasters. You get 8 coasters for $50. We'll give you the discount there instead of 30 and 30, or $75 for all 3. Make a donation on Venmo at Brian Engelman. Give me your address, and I will mail these out to you. Like I said, or 30 for 1 set of coasters, and I'll mail that out to you. Yeah, you dislike this Canadian Football League. Yeah, the Canadian Football League, it's a different beast. It's sort of like a minor league for football, I suppose. Here, let's put the overlay up here where we can get the comments going. Everybody hit like, hit subscribe, however you're watching, please. Also, I have another question of the day. Is Rumble glitching on people? I just glanced up, so I have my feed going, and I'm in the cockpit here. I got screens, I got buttons, I got lights. Oh, I did it again. Forgot to turn on the second light. How weird. I routinely forget to turn this light on, and it's right in front of my eyeballs. Yeah, is Rumble glitching? Is it like pausing and stopping? Because I had the feed going, and then it just shut down. Don't understand why. All right, something else I don't understand why. Let's get into the news. This is footage of what happened at Florida State. There is somebody down here, and then there's somebody walking, showing a shooter actively firing at students on FSU campus moments after walking away from the victim. Right here. Stops, turns, and just starts aiming at random people. Shooter has been shot and is in jail. Or he's at the hospital, whatever the case may be. So yeah, here's another shooting. And there was a secret plan by Joe Biden to come after our Second Amendment. I think we'll get to that coming up here. They never miss the opportunity to take advantage of a crisis. Here's Tulsi Gabbard declassifying the Democrats' secret plot to eliminate the Second Amendment, according to Trending Politics. Gun Owners of America put this out. Tulsi Gabbard declassifies President Biden's secret plan to eliminate the Second Amendment in the name of counterterrorism. A Biden-era plan to dismantle Second Amendment protections in the name of eliminating domestic terrorism threats has been exposed by Tulsi Gabbard, President Trump's Director of National Intelligence. Titled The Strategic Implementation Plan for Countering Domestic Terrorism, the 15-page report details unprecedented actions slated for implementation should former President Joe Biden or Vice President Kamala Harris have won the 2024 election. Some have long been held up by firearms advocates as examples of unconstitutional use of presidential power. Gun Owners of America cited a passage in the report titled Confronting Long-Term Contributors to Domestic Terrorism, which recommended the Biden-Harris administration move aggressively to rein in the proliferation of ghost guns, encourage state adoption of extreme risk protection orders, and drive other executive and legislative action, including banning assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. Lethal Lethal means for perpetrating acts of domestic terrorism are reduced. Greater care is provided earlier to potentially dangerous individuals. Norms of nonviolent political expression and rejection of racism and bigotry are strengthened. Oh my goodness. It's so interesting in the post DEI world when you read a sentence that was bathed in DEI, you can hear all the buzzwords so much more clearly than you can before. It all feels so antiquated and divisive and racist and illegal and misandrist and all of the things that DEI was. They picked their favorites and they picked their least favorites, and they would actively attack and try to ruin their least favorite humans. Norms of non-violent political expression and rejection of racism and bigotry are strengthened. Excuse me. America, in like lines like that, they sound perfect. They sound great. You're like, yeah, until you realize what that means, how it's implemented. That it's writing a blank check to go carte blanche, hog wild on the people that you don't like. And it's been used that way. The Obama doctrine has been to weaponize the government against the American people, if they're the wrong American people, of course. Americans have increasing faith in democracy and government, increased intervention and care for those who pose a danger to themselves and others, strengthen civics education that promotes democratic resiliency, increase civic engagement to foster social cohesion, end quote. Those are goals stated by the authors who suggested rolling back Second Amendment rights. The report proves all along that President Biden hatched a secret plan to eliminate the Second Amendment in the name of counterterrorism, the gun rights group wrote on X. So every time you see an unfortunate situation, like a shooting, look at the usual suspects coming out, trying to go after your right to defend yourself. That's not the right answer. That is not the right answer. The right answer is more individual liberty and freedom. Okay, one more time. David, the football show, you said I liked the football show. Can you remind me, have you seen our football shows before, or was that your first exposure to our football content? Once again, yesterday we put a new episode of Strictly Football out. We're going to do another one, I think, Monday at 5 p.m. We'll be back doing Strictly Football with our draft preview. We wanted to do it yesterday, but as we got into all the free agent players that moved around, I mean, there was a lot of movement in the NFL. A lot of these moves, I was unaware. Najee Harris, the running back for Pittsburgh, he's in Los Angeles with the Chargers now. I didn't even. Oh, okay. Totally missed that story. Relevant to me in my fantasy football league because he's in my dynasty league. But yeah, that show just went long. So we're going to do the draft on Monday. Of course, the NFL draft is coming up on Thursday. So we'll do a mock draft and kind of figure out who we're going to take where and look at some of the rookies coming into the league. Okay, David's saying that was his first exposure to the show. Awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in and finding us. Yeah, Jim Mitchell, he likes to focus on the handicapping and like the gambling aspect of things. Mike Barra, big Seahawks fan. I'm a big Browns fan. So yeah, that was episode, what was that, 24 yesterday? We did one show a week last year, and now we're keeping it going. Super excited. It's like Mike said, he's like, dude, this show took forever. This was such a lot. He's used to like quick 60-minute shows. And I'm like, dude, if it's under 3 hours, it's way too short. And he's like, that was a long show. At the end, we're like, should we do the draft? He's like, no, we'll do it later. He's like, that was a long show. He goes, but it was awesome. I love talking football with you guys. That was great. And I'm like, yes, that's what I'm saying. It did take more time than we normally budget an hour and a half for it. But it's like when you're talking football, and we went through all 32 teams. Some teams we went more in depth with. Obviously, the Seahawks and Browns got a little bit more attention. But, they're both living in Vegas. So we covered the Raiders a little bit more and talked about the draft some. So awesome. Well, David, thanks for checking out that show, Strictly Football. Glad you liked it. And David saying he doesn't gamble anymore because it's fixed. Yeah, I'll play some fantasy football. I don't really bet on games. I just don't. You know what though? Maybe we should bet in Maine. Maybe there's a way that we can take our gambling apps and bet in Maine, because a Maine student female athlete is blasting Governor Janet Mills because men have invaded women's spaces. So maybe we could gamble on men competing against women in sports. We could make millions. Here she is here discussing her situation, what she went through, and shame on Governor Janet Mills for allowing this. And anybody that thinks this is okay.
First experience was when I was 13 years old. I was going to change for gym, and I walked into the locker room, and there was a biological male there. From that point on, my junior year, I competed in Nordic skiing and lost to a biological male numerous of times. I am fighting this fight for generations to come. And the fact that our governor can look the women of our state in the eyes and say, I'm not going to fight for you, is heartbreaking, and it's betrayal, like Riley said. I just want to thank all these women standing behind me and President Trump for fighting for us, because even though my own governor isn't fighting for me, I know there are people out there fighting for me.
So I compete in soccer and indoor track and outdoor track. And like was mentioned previously today, I had to watch at the Maine Class B State Indoor Track Championship as my close friend and my teammate and other female competitors lost the state championship to a biological male. And this was heartbreaking for me to have to watch. And Riley said that it's betrayal, and that's what it is. It is the job of our elected officials to protect our young female athletes, and they have failed to do that. We walk into sports expecting to have a level playing field, and to walk into the state championship to see a biological male there and to lose to a biological male, that's betrayal. And so I am extremely grateful to AG Bondi for standing up for us when our elected officials aren't doing that. And on behalf of the girl athletes in Maine, I just want to say thank you all, and I look forward to having a level playing field back after this fight. So thank you.
My first experience was when I was 13 years old. I was going to change for gym, and I walked into the locker room.
Beginning again. Yep. Restore sanity button. I'll leave that as a comment. It's like leaving breadcrumbs back so you know your path.
I hope that.
Here you go. Check this one out. President Trump is talking about Europe to one of the leaders here in Europe from Italy, yeah? Giorgia Meloni.
Europe is going to be great again. Europe is going through a lot of problems, and a lot of it's having to do with immigration. And I'm not a big fan of Europe and what they've done with immigration at all. And I think they got to get smart, because Europe is being very badly hurt by what they've done with immigration. Now, I'll say this, that the Prime Minister has taken a very tough stand on immigration. And I commented to her before, I said, I wish more people would be like you having to do with that subject, but they're not. Europe is very important to me. Europe is very important to the world. I want Europe to do very well. I think they have to get a lot smarter on immigration. I hope that.
Yeah, make Europe great again button. That's the comment I left there. Giorgia Meloni. Yeah, you're seeing the world leaders coalescing around common sense. They're going to the Trump side. Bad people, they are going after, they're going after the MAGA movement. You know who the bad actors are. Link Lauren says, I'm a Second Amendment absolutist. I assume this is regarding that shooting yesterday. Anytime anyone gets shot, you hear these cries. Although that's not if anyone gets shot. Of course, in the inner cities, when Democrat on Democrat violence is just causing a genocide, that word is bandied about these days. some gun crime is more equal than others. But Link has a thought on our Second Amendment rights. He says, I'm a Second Amendment absolutist. Taking guns away will not mitigate this issue. That's a liberal fantasy. Schools used to have gun clubs and nothing bad occurred. There's a deeper underlying issue here. How many school shooters have we seen recently who are over-medicated and presented mental health issues well before? If someone is sick, twisted, and determined to cause harm, they will find a way to do it. Guns are not the problem. Let's talk about problems here. You know, I thought we were past this racist era in the United States, but maybe not. James O'Keefe, talking to Summit Public Schools HR director, confessing to violating Title VII California FEHA and school policy. So here's what he's saying. The O'Keefe Media Group undercover journalist, I don't know if I said this, but it says you get presented with on equal merits a white person or a black person or whatever.
Presented with on equal merits, like a white person and a black person or whatever.
Yeah, we're going with the black person.
Yeah, no matter what. Really.
Yeah, no matter what.
Yeah.
An HR director for a California charter school says that in choosing between a white and black applicant, he'll choose a black applicant no matter what. No matter what is not only a violation of California state law, but also the school's own policy. The HR director for Summit Public Schools continues to tell our journalists they look specifically for transgendered people and people of color to teach the school children.
If it's a person of color, great. If it's a trans teacher, great. You know? And so I think it's just culturally, we just naturally look for those folks.
We asked Jonathan Farrer, the HR director from Summit Public Schools, if he would hire a conservative person or a MAGA person. Farrer says the school would avoid hiring any MAGA people.
You're hiring like MAGA people for staff sometimes if it just happens, you know what I mean?
I don't think we would.
Like in Nevada.
Like, I don't think we would. Oh my God, I'm talking way.
I don't think we would.
I'm feeling so bad. I feel like I'm talking your ear off. I'm talking way too much.
No.
Yeah, you're talking your ear off. You're talking your job off. Wow. That's what you're up against, people. That's what you're up against. Yeah. So look for more of that information coming out. Sean Farash here, man. This is a pretty good comment right here. We're going to get to the clip where the father, the Carmelo Anthony killer, we're going to get to a clip about that, but he's commenting here. He goes, okay, I'm back. Good. Let me forward that to current time. All right, we're live. Sean Farash says Carmelo Anthony's attorney and family asked Austin Metcalf's father to leave their press conference. So that's a big story. And wouldn't you know it, Austin Metcalf's father left without stabbing and killing anyone. It's literally that easy. This sums up the entire case as I currently understand it. Maybe there's some details I don't understand. And I think anybody who's going to be intellectually honest before they burn America down because of George Floyd, the people that didn't watch the video, what was it, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes? Floyd was clearly having an episode, a panic attack, a heart attack, an overdose. Something medically was happening to him prior to any police officer touching him at all. And he was calmly placed in handcuffs and put into the back of the car, but he freaked out and got out onto the ground, and that's when the knee went down, just to hold him down there. In hindsight, what I say all the time is, like, you need to find a way if someone's having a freak out and you're not supposed to be on them, you're not supposed to be using force. Find a way to connect the ankles and connect the wrists to the ankles and then wrap them around the car tire and let them do what they're doing until the medical team can arrive, because the optics looked really bad. But the people who burned cities down didn't have information. That they saw a segment of the footage of that incident, and they were never shown what led up to us. This was a calm traffic stop. It's not like these people were out to, bludgeon and abuse this guy. It's like he was arrested for what he was arrested for. He was placed in the back of the cop car. We were supposed to never know this guy's name. He's the one that got himself out of the cop car and onto the ground. No, we didn't deserve to be killed. And there's a lot of experts out there that say he wasn't. He overdosed. He had a heart attack. But the point is, prior to going to trial and having any information, you saw the end of that video. You didn't see what led up to it, that the guy was saying, I can't breathe. He was absolutely freaking out. Minutes and minutes and minutes and minutes. And very peaceably put into the back of the cop car. We didn't have all the information. We didn't have all the information with Kyle Rittenhouse. We didn't have any information on anything within a day or 2 days or 3 days. There's a lot we have to unpack. But this story, this Carmelo Anthony, this killer Carmelo Anthony, the attorney and the family asked Austin Metcalf, the deceased father, to leave the press conference, and he left without stabbing and killing anyone. And it's literally that easy. Sometimes you can sum up a story super quick, and I think Sean Frosh did a great job of that. 72-hour rule. We don't know anything about this shooting on Florida State, so of course, let's tell you everything we think we know. From Dark Garbaggio, the shooter's warped mind, FSU gunman, chilling political views revealed as footage shows this guy rampaging across campus. We showed you that. Accused of holding white supremacist beliefs, according to former classmates. They're calling him a registered Republican. Now, this is very different from what other reporting is saying. This guy with a MAGA hat on. But he types, I think it's a little too late. He, being Trump, is already going to be inaugurated on January 20. There's not really much you can do unless you want outright revolt, and I don't think anyone wants that. The publication has since withdrawn his words from the story, noting an earlier version of this article included a quote from the gunman in the April 17 shooting at FSU and was removed at the decision of our editors to maintain ethical journalistic standards and avoid amplifying the voice of an individual responsible for violence. Yeah, but you're not amplifying it. It's a matter of public record, and it goes to motive. It goes to motivation. I don't like this erasing history in real time. That's why the printed word is so valuable. Why digital document, like actual tangible documents, are better than digital. In 1984, everything's constantly rewritten. So, like, imagine Google, YouTube got to tell you what happened on January 6th. What would they tell you? What would they tell you about Hunter Biden's laptop? What would they tell you about COVID? What would they tell you about medicine? What would Google tell you? And then what's the truth? Very different. Go find countervailing views at cisa.gov/rumor control. Anyway, that's weird that they're trying to go back and delete this guy. In a chilling social media post, which has now emerged, the killer wrote, "You are my war club, my weapons for battle. With you, I shatter nations. With you, I destroy kingdoms." I actually quoted this a week ago from somewhere. I was scrolling and saw it. A passage from the book of Jeremiah in the Bible that warned of an impending judgment day. Social media flooded with sickening footage and images of panic. Victim being carried off. Witness told TV. College-age man exited the union with a handgun. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway. Sigh. Atlas Society is saying, why the double standard, Disney? Why the double standard? What's up, Pied Piper? Thanks for joining in. Everybody say hello. Tell us your name and where you're commenting from. We love to hear from you. Join the comments. Pied Piper says, seems like they're creating the narrative for their favorite kind of shooter. Their favorite kind. And who is their favorite kind? Now, are you saying that all right. So is that like saying that sarcastically, like their favorite kind of shooter is the trans shooter? Because like that's sort of, you can see the groups 4 years ago, 5 years ago with George Floyd. It was like, okay, we're going to mobilize the black citizens of the United States. We're going to push nonstop. And Zuckerberg's admitted to messing with his algorithms to deliver certain people pure rage bait, to fire them up and make them angry all the time. And then you saw with the Tennessee shooting and the whole trans this, trans that, a lot of trans shooters. Do you mean their favorite shooters like the trans community now or the BLM community from 2020? Or do you mean their favorite kind of shooter being somebody who can wear a MAGA hat and you can say, aha, that's a white guy, that's a MAGA hat. See? We told you all of MAGA are monsters. I don't know which way you're meaning that question or that comment. It kind of works on a lot of different levels. I'm just trying to figure out which one it is. David saying, yes, they do love getting rid of history. Oh, you're damn right they do. That's why you got to have the important books in writing. You need to have your favorite movies and stuff, a physical copy. Don't go digital. Don't go all digital. Pied Piper saying, yes, somewhat sarcastic. The left and legacy media love a conservative MAGA shooter. Yeah, and if it's a trans shooter or a black shooter, that story goes away. Disappeared down the memory hole like it never happened. Moving on, I bet Disney wishes they could make this movie flop go away quietly. Gina Carano was fired for sharing memes and genuine anti-woke concerns. Meanwhile, Rachel Zegler was given a social media guru for hating on classic Disney and inciting violence. So, there's the double standard. Babylon Bee reporting that liberals warn enforcing immigration law is a slippery slope that may lead to the enforcement of other laws. That's a dangerous slippery slope. If you enforce immigration, slippery slope, we might have to enforce other laws. Hey, how about Letitia James getting accused of essentially the same stuff she was accusing Trump of, right? Or like the whole legal lawfare system. It's hard to remember the Letitia Jameses and the Fannie Willises and the not Eric Adams, the other guy. Is his name Eric? Who was the other guy from New York that was going after Trump? Not Letitia James, the dude. Not Eric Adams. I'm stuck on the name Eric Adams. I can see the guy. What was his name? Somebody type that in comments, please. But yeah, it's a slippery slope if you start enforcing immigration. Now, what's next? Other laws? But I think it's super interesting that Letitia James is allegedly busted with all sorts of mortgage fraud. You hate to see it. You hate to see it, people. Let's talk about Carmelo Anthony.
Jennifer, let me ask you, let's go back to the original story. They kicked the victim's father out of a news conference. What in the world are they thinking?
What bad optics.
I don't know, to be honest with you, Grant. I mean, we live in a completely upside down world. And, unfortunately, you and I have been talking about this for a very long time. But Carmelo Anthony is not the victim here. And, Austin Metcalf's father has displayed nothing but grace and humanity throughout an entirely disgusting and horrifying situation for his family. He even went so far as to publicly forgive Carmelo Anthony. So I don't understand what they're talking about character. And for this family to display so grotesquely, portraying that their son, who we know, because he admitted it, intentionally stuck a knife into another child and took his life, to portray themselves as the victims today is just absolutely disgusting. I just don't understand what this world is coming to. And then to try and profit off of it.
Look, I'm going to tell you, I know for a fact, if it was a white kid that went and sat under the tent of a mostly black team and the black kids asked the white kid to move and the white kid stabbed the black kid in the heart, there would be no donations on GoFundMe from a mostly leftist group.
Yeah, would those donations be allowed through? GoFundMe is pretty notorious for
to support Austin Metcalf. And there shouldn't be. You don't donate to people who's put a knife in someone for, in my opinion, no reason. He says self-defense. I say it's too much. You should never bring a knife to a track meet. Jennifer, let me ask you, let's go back to the...
So you got that going for you. That's what the story is. In case it's not in my stack, let me tell you about this one. Charlie Kirk shared this. It was an exchange. I might have shared it. We'll see if it comes up. But the reporter asks President Trump, did you wave off an Israeli plan to attack Iran? And he responded, I wouldn't say waved off. I think that Iran has a chance to have a great country and to live happily without death. And I'd like to see that. That's my first option. Charlie says, pray for peace. Anomaly says, I like that answer. Well, I mean, he's sort of telling you what you need to hear. You can get with the program, or you got to get it figured out, Iran. Iran has been at the center of a million problems for a long time. And it's really kind of coming to a head. Who's funding all these groups? Who's funding all the attacks that are leading to these wars? So we'll see. We'll keep our eye on Iran, by the way. JD Vance says this. He goes, I hate this smug, self-assured bullshit. I know I'm right, and people must be dumb or immoral to agree with me. It's an easy way to go through life because then you never have to think seriously about why your worldview is a justification for the mass invasion of the country my ancestors built with their bare hands. Yeah. There you go. This Jesse Single says joining the Trump bandwagon means you either need to be dumb or pretend to be dumb. JD Vance might have mortgaged his morality and his... JD shooting back. Let's remember 4 years ago today, Fauci stood at the White House podium and brazenly contradicted President Trump, citing the fraudulent proximal origin paper as proof that COVID came from nature while pretending not to know that its authors created this falsely. In truth, he had commissioned the fake paper himself. Allegedly. Go get your countervailing views, by the way. CISA.gov/rumor control. Pied Piper saying, I have no idea why the left seems to be getting behind that kid that stabbed the other guy and the MS-13 gang member that was deported. Do they really think it's a good play? No, dude, from OJ to Trayvon, I don't understand this knee-jerk reaction to defend the black kid at all costs. It's a knee-jerk reaction. It's pushed by the Democrat Party. It's pushed through the lying legacy media. Anything to divide America on racial terms, they will push nonstop. The Democrats and legacy media push that nonstop. Now, it's only one direction. It's only one direction. Oh, man. And if they can go after Daniel Penny, the white guy on that train that had that stark raving homicidal lunatic that needed to be placed in a chokehold because everybody on the train was freaked out and threatened with death by that guy. Daniel Penny steps in, tries to help. And he got put through the ringer before eventually being cleared. I'm just trying to be a good Samaritan who wants to go throughout their day without a threat of being murdered by a crazy person. I haven't seen a piece of evidence that Carmelo Anthony acted in self-defense. What I have is preliminary information that may or may not be true. And it looks like he was told to move. I believe he left and then came back with the weapon and stabbed him in the heart and killed him right there. I'm not sure if that's the real story. So with this case, I'm in fact-finding mode. I'm not gonna. I will not scream that we have to burn things down because that twin was savagely murdered in a completely unnecessary situation. Also, the deported guy. The story on the deported dude, Kilmar. The story is that the Trump team keeps saying he was found guilty and he's an MS-13 gang member. What the libertarians and the left are saying is he was never convicted in any court of any of this. He was never proven to be an MS-13 gang member. He was never convicted of, he was actually granted, he did have multiple hearings, but a judge ruled that he could stay in America and he could work in America. So he was legally in America, but he's being called an illegal alien. It's Schrodinger's case. He's both guilty and innocent. He's both a monster and a great guy. He's a Maryland man, but he's an El Salvadorian citizen. He's MS-13, but he's not a gang member. He's a father. No, wait, he beats his wife and she got a restraining order against him. Well, but he has no crimes. He hasn't committed any crimes except getting into America illegally. Oh, except he was in America legally because the court found that he could live and work in America. Yeah, well, they only found it because Biden dumped 30 million people into the country, and all of the coyotes say it's political persecution. You're fleeing for political persecution. You fear for your life. Go. And that's what Carmelo Anthony's going to say. I feared for my life, so I stab. So I stab. Okay, so I stab. I don't think you're fearing for your life in that instance. And I think he was sitting in the wrong spot. I think he was asked to leave and told to leave. I'm guessing. I'm filling in some blanks. But the story on this Kilmar guy is that he should probably get a hearing in America to determine what's what. He probably should. Just to shut the left up, if nothing else. But if what Trump and his team are saying is accurate, then it should stand up. But the story is that it's not being accurately reported because any one of us could have been silenced and sent to Guantanamo Bay under Biden or Obama, sent to a FEMA camp under a President Harris, a President Biden, a President Obama. I mean, I'm sure a lot of us have just assumed we're going to end up kidnapped and thrown into a detention center, a FEMA camp, because that's what the bad people want to do. So we don't want the MAGA side to do the thing that we don't want to happen to us. If it's a Democrat, a traitor, you can just call Democrats traitors at this point. If a traitor were in charge. And I'm not speaking to some of the good people out there that like, I don't know, people should be able to have abortions if they want to. And I don't know, like leave the trans people alone. Like let them do their thing. And you're like, if that's the only reason you're Democrat, nobody's banned abortion federally. It's a states' rights issue because everything says the 10th Amendment that's not specifically designated to the federal government is a states' rights issue. Go to your state and get it done. Nobody's saying don't be trans. They're saying stop grooming the kids and keep the dudes out of the locker rooms. It's pretty straightforward. Oh, don't punch them in the face in a MMA competition pretending to be a lady either. Like, if these are the only reasons you're voting Democrat, like leave that treasonous party and join the common sense party. But the common sense party stops being common sense if somebody's deported without due process. I've been arguing this for days with people. And some of my smartest libertarian buddies, they are convinced that it should be easy to get rid of him, but he was accused of something years ago and the case was dropped. He was never proven to be guilty of anything. So you can't just round him up and toss him into one of the worst prisons on earth. Also, why are we paying for a prison in El Salvador? Why are we paying for... The story just goes on and on. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. Here's Fauci lying. Go to CISA.gov or CDC website or WHO website. They'll give you countervailing views because I think they still love Fauci and they don't think he ever lied about anything. However, the rest of us live in the real world and we know better.
Group of highly qualified evolutionary virologists looked at the sequences there and the sequences in bats as they evolve, and the mutations that it took to get to the point where it is now is totally consistent with a jump of a species from an animal to a human. So, I mean,
yeah, liar.
The paper will be available. I don't have the authors right now, but we can make that available too.
Liar. Prosecute Fauci button. Tim Dillon talking about free speech. His special was out. I was watching a little bit of it yesterday. Didn't get to finish, but I do look forward to it. He's talking about, well, look, the deportations, here's the slippery slope. Yes, Trump derangement syndrome does run rampant. But in the case of that Maryland man, the accusation is that he was in the country and he was ruled at an immigration hearing that he could work in the United States. But then the Trump team is saying he was ruled that he should be deported. I am lit. I can't think of a story that has been simultaneously reported two completely different ways, and I haven't been able to fully discern what the heck is going on. I'm familiar with like Fauci and COVID and those stories being misreported, lied. We were lied to for years by legacy media. I'm aware of that. I'm used to that. I'm familiar with that. But I'm usually able to sort out what's true and what's false. And I'm sort of left with the opinion that Kilmar, Maryland man should come back to the U.S. and have one hearing because he's the only one that's really getting all this attention. So bring him back, have a hearing, rule that he's MS-13 if you can. What's the evidence? What crimes did he commit if he was granted a right to be in the country and to work in the country? For what reason is he being deported? Because the deportation order says that you can't be sent back to El Salvador because the judge heard the claim that, well, I was recruited into the MS-13 and I said no, so they threatened me and my family. That's why I'm fleeing. So the deportation order is allegedly you can be deported, but not to El Salvador because you'll be dead if you go back. Now, I don't want to see this guy, I don't want to see him Derek Chauvin. What was he, stabbed 30 times? So it seems like for all the TDS people, maybe just hold a case. Maybe just hold it one more trial. Do it very publicly. And if you can prove it, send him back. And if you can't prove it, because that was the other thing. It's like, well, you can't. They had judges, and they're trying to get lawfare to stop everything Trump is doing. The problem is that when you stop for one of these things, it just clogs everything up. One car accident can set your commute back 2 hours. One little clog causes a huge problem everywhere. But that doesn't mean we throw our Bill of Rights in the trash just because it'll slow us down. Because we could easily be on the other side of that. I have honest empathy for that scenario. I'm just trying to figure out the facts of it, and I'm being told two completely different stories simultaneously. And it seems like a lot of the smart people are starting to side on, well, then just give this guy the hearing that he should have had all along because he hasn't been found guilty of anything. And if you can't find him guilty, then you shouldn't, or maybe not into prison, but deported if he's battering his wife. And is the wife giving him an anchor baby, or is she an illegal too? There's so much to unpack on this story. I don't know, but I'm here for it. Any comments that you have on this strange story of Gil, Schrodinger's illegal alien? He's illegal, but he's not illegal. He's a criminal, but he's not a criminal. He's a gang member, but he's not a gang member. He's been deported, but he hasn't been deported. He's guilty, but he's not guilty. Which fucking one is it? So I'm just at this point, I'm starting to go into the camp of give him one trial, bring him back, and give him the what needs to be said, what needs to be proven, who, what, where, when, why, how. Let's go through what we know and figure it out. That's where I'm at the moment on that story. reluctantly believing that MAGA is lying to us about every major component of the story, misrepresenting what happened, misrepresenting his case, misrepresenting the process, misrepresenting our rights. Okay, then, hey, prove him wrong, right? Prove him wrong. Prove the haters and doubters wrong. All right, here's Tim Dillon talking to Piers Morgan about free speech, because if you can be deported, can you be deported because you're critical of Israel? Can you just be kicked out of your own country because we don't love our 51st state enough? 51st state? Well, yeah, to the people that say Israel controls the U.S. foreign policy. That's why all the people in Congress have AIPAC handlers, says Thomas Massey. That's why every leader has to put on the hat and go kiss the wall and whatever that's about. No, and you're right. The story is a distraction, David, but what if I was accused of something? Don't I get a chance to say that's not me? I didn't do that? The critics of this guy that is a distraction, they're just saying he never got his court case. Like, you're accusing him of shit and kicking him out. He's like, hold on. Well, what's my no, I don't agree. That didn't happen. Refuting the claims. Now, maybe he is a bad guy, but you still have to prove it. So, I mean, it is a distraction, but like, that is the cornerstone. If you take that away, are you going to get deported for criticizing the Hamas war that Hamas started? Remember the one that Bibi's bad and Israel's bad and the Jews are bad? That's what the left is shrieking about, and that's what they're saying. And how dare you go into Palestine, free Palestine. Let's sing it. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Oh, you have the wrong opinion. You're deported too. Well, that is happening. Okay, David, on the he's a criminal thing, I keep saying this to my friends and they go, no, he's not. So what is he a criminal of? What did he do? He's in the country illegally. The response is he's not in America legally. He applied for asylum and he was granted work privileges. He's in the system and he's part of the asylum process. He's not illegally here. He's legally here. My response to that is, what do you mean he's legally here? I don't buy any of these asylum claims. The Obama doctrine of colonization into Europe, every country in Europe, into Canada, into America, is flood all of these sovereign nations with non-citizens and change the country from the inside out. That's what they do. That's what they're pushing for. So I don't believe any of these fake asylum claims. Oh, you're so scared you're going to leave all the women and children behind and you're going to be a military-aged male sneaking across the border into our country? Fuck off. Get out of here. You snuck into the back door of the movie theater. We caught you. Get the hell out. So I don't really believe these asylum claims at all. Now, I do know they happen. I do know they exist. But 30 million people in asylum claims? Why don't you stay and fix your own damn country? You're so damn proud of it. You want to come over here and bring your traditions and your flags and your customs? Why don't you go back to where your flags and your customs are prevalent and make that the utopia you want it to be? Don't come to America and try to change your little piece of America into that shithole that you left. I'm calling it a shithole because you fled it, because you were being persecuted, because you hated it. Everything was upside down there. So you don't come here and create more of that country here. And the problem is, if you're not assimilating, learning to read the language, write the language, English, if you're not going to take a citizenship test, if you're not going to do a full medical and criminal background check so that we know who you are, and you're not going to go through the process and make sure over the course of 25 years, 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, whatever the immigration process is, and stay clean and stay out of jail, stay out of the legal system, and don't take free money benefits. Yeah, well, I guess if you're an exemplary person, then you can become a U.S. citizen if you go through all of these things, and it takes a while. You don't just jump in and jump to the front of the line. No, we're stopping that. So yeah, like even just saying he's a criminal, now I'm playing tennis back and forth with my libertarian friends 20 times. Like he hasn't been convicted of anything. So bring him back, have one case, actually convict him, and get him the hell out of here. But he was wrapped up in it, and he was never actually convicted. He was named in an accusation in a case that was dismissed. So he wasn't ever found guilty. And you're right, David. That's exactly where we're at. The other side of evil has been lying about everything for 60 years at least. So, of course, our knee-jerk reaction is to go double-barrel middle fingers at these people and go, I don't care. I'm not stopping for you. I'm not apologizing for a single mistake. Full speed ahead. And I know not everything can be perfect. You got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet. I know that. I know all this. But America's supposed to be a safe haven where it doesn't go off the rails, where innocent people get wrapped up in it. And that's why these libertarian friends of mine are, they're anti-death penalty. And I'm like, that's the problem with you libertarians. You can erase 999 violent, psychopathic monsters from the electric chair. But if one innocent person gets wrapped up in that, you throw the whole process out, and all that demonic energy has to stay here, staining humanity. Because the libertarians, if they're not 100% purity test proof, if they don't pass the purity test by 100%, nope, not good enough. I'm not participating. I'm not voting Trump. He wasn't perfect. Yeah, nobody's perfect. Nope, my libertarian candidate is perfect. No, they're not. But that's how they absolve themselves of having to participate in the conversations. They're perfect. They're pristine. These other people are soiled, sullied. I don't know. We're in a tough spot here. These criminals who are covering and running from their own criminal activities. This whole 30 million invasion, it is bonkers. Absolute madness. But, can you get deported now for anti-Semitism? Air quote. Does that mean you just can't criticize the war? You can't criticize a politician? You can't criticize, are you going to be deported now for anti-Semitism, right? That's the catch-all now. So Tim Dillon's talking about this.
I think if you care about free speech, you have to be concerned with deporting people that attended protests that were critical of Israel. It doesn't mean you agree with everything those people said or any of it. It means that if those people have not committed a crime and you cannot show that they are financially supporting Hamas or in any tactical way, and they're out there speaking freely at a protest, writing op-eds, deporting them because they've been critical of a foreign government, seems to feed the conspiracy theories that the United States is acting and doing things at the behest of Israel. What you want to do, if you're creating a political culture, you want to try to prevent people from drifting to the extremes. That should be the whole point of creating any type of political culture, is to say there are lines that people aren't going to cross. They're not going to get into Holocaust denialism, or they're not going to go, on the other side into this crazy, let's banish everyone who disagrees with us and let's try to get them to lose their job and destroy their reputation and really do a ton of damage to people's lives. These extremes you want to prevent. And to me, what I see, there's a lot of long-term damage, not only to the relationship we have with Israel, but to, people's faith in our government to make decisions. If we start deporting people without any due process, putting them in a jail in El Salvador, I think these are things that conservatives are saying, wait a minute, we've died on the hill of free speech. We can't support deporting people because they've been critical of our government or Israel. It's crazy. If they're legally here on a legal visa.
Right. What if they are, for argument's sake, openly supporting Hamas, which is a prescribed terror group in the United States? In that circumstance, because you got this guy, Mahmoud Khalil, who was the head of the protest group in Colombia, who was apparently distributing pro-Hamas literature and was there on a green card. Would that change your thinking about somebody like that?
Pierce, I've openly supported Hamas. It depends who you're having lunch with. Don't you want to just get through a lunch, Pierce? Do you want to fight everyone all the time? If I'm out to lunch with people from the Middle East. I'm not going to start a whole thing here. No, listen, the thing becomes what is Hamas literature? Is it like a brochure that says welcome to Hamas? Am I selling it to Hamas timeshare? What is he doing? He's walking around the quad at Columbia. I got to see this literature that's supposedly Hamas. I had no idea Hamas was doing
doing a book drive,
brochures. I didn't know. Do you go through a Hamas presentation? Do you show up to the lobby of a Marriott and they just get up and tell you about the organization? I don't know. It seems flimsy. The language we're using to deport that guy seems flimsy to me, unless you can make a real case that he was genuinely supporting Hamas in a tactical way that endangers residents of the United States of America.
And every time, I have this conversation as well. It's, oh, they're not supporting Hamas. They don't want the war. The war that they started is spare me your tears for the people that started a war, and now they're upset that I can't believe they're fighting back. You just turn it around. You go, no, see, it's the Arabs that are fighting back against that bullshit nation Israel that was created in 1947 by the Rockefeller, go down. The Balfour. It was England. It was the United States. It's Zionism. It's Christian Zionism. Okay. Doesn't Zionism just mean that you want to have your nation? Why do they get to have a Jewish nation, but America can't be a Christian nation? Why can China be a Chinese country? Very low on immigration. Why does America have to be blended with every other country of the earth? Why does China get to be homogenous? Japan, why do they get to be homogenous, but the United States can't? But it is a slippery slope. You're deporting this guy. It's like, he's guilty. It's like, where? Show me the court case where he was found guilty. Just let's review the who, what, where, when, why on this guy that got deported. Because these people are getting deported. And look, if you don't support Netanyahu or Israel on any particular subject, can you be deported next? There's been floatings and rumblings of American citizens being tossed in Guantanamo Bay or El Salvador. Could we be next if we're not nice to Israel for some reason? And that's what Tim Dillon's talking about.
If he beat up a Jewish student, if he committed a crime, if he, all of these things. But if he's just voicing a very anti-Israel point of view.
And I've called BS on a lot of people pretending to, no, I'm just against the war. It's like, no, man, you're chanting for intifada, to shake off the fleas into the ocean, get rid of all the Jews, erase all the Jewish presence in that area. That's what you're calling for. That's why Hamas can't negotiate for peace, because they don't want peace. They want you gone, and they will fight a forever war until you're all erased. Pure genocide. That's what they want. No, I'm just pro this, not that. Okay, are you though? But then how do you draw that line? Patriots were considered domestic terrorists on January 6th, protesting what they felt was a completely fraudulent, air quote, election.
I think deporting him is going to feed the flames of a lot of people that think that we're doing things at the behest of Israel and that we're compromising our values to do it.
So that's where we're at. Slippery slope time, everybody. Joey Manorino, though, taking the MAGA stance. He says Democrats have made their two biggest heroes of the past month Carmelo Anthony, a black kid who killed a white kid, and Kilmar Abrego Garcia, an illegal alien MS-13 member who beats his own wife. As for the average American taxpayer, the American worker, and the American middle class, they're not part of the big tent that the Democrats have to offer. If you're not beating your wife, you're not Democrat. If you're not killing whites, you're not a Democrat. If you're not MS-13, you're not a Democrat. That's what they're saying to me, Joey Manorino, loud and clear. So was he found guilty of beating his wife, and is that enough to deport somebody? Shouldn't it be? If you're not keeping clean, well, I mean, it's a privilege to be a U.S. citizen. You don't just get to jump in and become a member of the country, right? Yeah, most of the protesters don't even know what they're protesting. Oilfield Rando says flying to Ukraine for photo ops with a cross-dressing cokehead went out of style. So now Democrat politicians are going to fly to El Salvador for photo ops with a criminal illegal alien. Really amazing times we're in. Really serious people. Like I said, per my 2-hour conversation in my thread with my libertarian buddy today, they're saying the guy is not a criminal. He hasn't been criminally convicted. So the ask is to bring the guy back and let's actually charge him, give him a chance for defense, and rule how it's ruled, and then deport him again if you need to. But they're saying they don't have enough to call him all the names that he's being called. Now, he might be a dirtbag. I'm guessing he is, but we need to make sure we had the opportunity to prove it. Donald Trump here saying about Letitia James, hey, it turns out that you can't have your principal residence in Virginia and be the Attorney General of New York. You can't say that your dad is your husband or claim that a 5 unit is a 4 unit, but that's what Letitia James did while going after Trump for the same thing. You've got to be kidding me.
It'd be the biggest irony I've ever seen in American politics that she's now, it looks like she's engaged in the same thing she charged President Trump with. I mean, turns out you can't have your principal residence.
All right. Anyway, that's what he's saying, and then they got weird music over top of it. But yeah, Letitia James, you came at the king and you missed. You best not come at the king and miss. That's from The Wire. Gateway pundit reporting that leaked documents are showing how the Biden regime secretly allowed Venezuela to invade the United States. What is this report? PBS NewsHour saying in the last elections, 153 Muslims ran for political positions, 89 won Muslim seats across 25 states. How far are we from them having the majority and imposing Sharia? It's USA Islamic conquest progresses. Are you importing people that are going to assimilate and become American, or people that are going to bring something like Sharia law, which is incompatible with the United States founding documents, to take over Dearborn, Michigan, to take over Springfield, Ohio, to take over this little area, this little area, this little area, this little area, and then get the Squad and Ilhan Omar and all these people to fundamentally change what being an American means. AOC's fighting. She's fighting, but she's lying.
Let's fight the oligarchy that has created this nightmare. And that is why I have never taken money from lobbyists or corporations, and it's why I never will.
She has taken money from lobbyists. According to federal campaign finance records, AOC has received nearly 100 separate donations from registered lobbyists since taking office. This isn't speculative. This is data, cold, hard, inconvenient truth. One of her most consistent donors, David Kashgarian, a lobbyist with Ernst & Young who represents a who's who of major corporate clients, Duke Energy, MetLife, GE, Charles Schwab, BlackRock, and more. So when she stands in front of 30,000 people in Los Angeles and claims she's never touched lobbyist money, it's not just misleading, it's a lie.
We must fight the oligarchy that has created this nightmare. And that is why I have never taken...
AstroTurf AOC button. I like typing that things are buttons. People respond to that, I think. Things are buttons. That's my comment. AstroTurf AOC button. So the White House says we are not the same. In stark contrast, the White House is drawing a sharp comparison to Trump meeting with Patty Morin, an angel mom who lost her daughter at the hands of an illegal immigrant, an illegal alien invader, while Democrat Senator Chris Van Hollen meets with an alleged... Okay, so now they're calling him an alleged MS-13 gangbanger who was deported to a prison in El Salvador. So if he's alleged, has he been actually convicted. I think it matters. I agree. I agree with my libertarian buddies on that. I think it does matter. If you're just thrown into a jail because you were alleged to have done something, I think that's a far cry. I think that's going a little bit too far there. And I don't think it's a good idea for the country. I really don't. If this is just one bad scenario, can't we just fix it? Can't we just have one more hearing? He's alleged to be a gang member. He wasn't found to be. He wasn't proven to be. He's been accused, and that case was dropped. Like, so just being accused of something means you must go into a gulag? I don't think that's the country we're trying to create here, people. I don't think it is. I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to get rid of the problems. They're trying to get rid of the violent people. They're trying to get rid of the lawbreakers. You do have a weird conundrum now because some of the lawbreakers have been able to take advantage of the law. They've been coached on how to rig the system. And then you're just sitting back going, well, there's nothing you can do. No takebacks. I called no takebacks. You can't do anything. You're like, the hell I can't. This is my country. Of course I can. Anyway. It's not good optics, I'll tell you what. Mr. Guns and Gear sharing this. 3 armed men in France opened fire yesterday. Reportedly at least 4 injured. Plan accordingly. What if you were out and about and this was happening? What would you do? Do you have a plan in place? Are you situationally aware? Or do you have your head buried in a... There you go. You're clear. Be aware. We're having scenes implementing, or we're having scenes playing out across the country. Whether it's at Florida State University or over there in France, we're seeing across the globe. And that was a hallmark of the Obama era. All of the Islamic attacks, you saw that over and over and over again when Obama was working so closely with ISIS. You remember that? Yeah, I'm old enough to remember that. Pepperidge Farm remembers that. Of course we remember that. Laser the Conservative says Carmelo Anthony's attorney, Dominique Alexander, has been arrested more than a dozen times for causing serious bodily harm to a 2-year-old, of felony theft, of forgery, and of domestic violence. Is that real? Is he? This is the person who's defending Carmelo Anthony. Is this for real? The comment says he's not an attorney. He calls himself a minister, but in reality, he's a career criminal and an opportunist. I don't know. What's he saying? This is the man who blames the weather for the Metcalf's murder? Oh, like it was raining or something, so he went under a tent, and the guy's like, get out of here. And the weather's to blame? Is that what's going on? I don't know. Colorado has a totalitarian transgender bill working its way through. HB 25-1312 would deem us both child abusers, and it's assault on the freedom of the press to boot. So keep your eyes peeled on Colorado with this transgender bill. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard has classified Adam Schiff and John Brennan as domestic enemies of the U.S. Great! Where are the indictments? How about this one? Rapists can no longer claim to be women. Wow, from the Water's Wet Department. It's about damn time. Police force is now expected to record sexual offenders by their sex and not their preferred gender following a Supreme Court ruling, according to Michael Schellenberger. That sounds good. That sounds fairly commonsensical. Is that the word I'm looking for? Commonsensical? All right, let's bounce over here to our X feed, shall we? Of course, there's our Strictly Football show. Pied Piper, if you haven't seen it, check it out. Episode 24 just dropped yesterday. It's a good show, just going over the entire NFL. What's going on? Free agency and a lot of draft innuendo and talk. We'll do our mock draft on Monday. Elon says, wow, the rabbit hole puts this out here. The DEI and the Fed, the Federal Reserve, private banking cartel of banksters that came into play in 1913, along with the ADL and the income tax, keep in mind, on Jekyll Island. DEI and the Federal Reserve, an affirmative action plan and everything. They even have video of Jerome Powell endorsing DEI. Well, it's time to abolish that. It's actually time to abolish the whole system. Why are we allowing an outside entity to print our money and loan it back to us at interest like they own us? I'm sorry, did I miss a memo? Did we lose a war? Anyway, we covered this James O'Keefe video. Oh, wait a minute. I had a different part pulled up. Hey, Frankie there finding us and commenting on X. Thank you, Frankie. Appreciate you. Yes, Brian, preach it. I love it, she says. Thanks. Where did my X page go? I had scrolled to exactly where I wanted to be. Okay, that's weird. I had this queued up, but now it's not there. Okay. Well, then let me try it this way. No, I know that I had this queued up for the stories that I wanted to buzz through. I don't know where the page went. Okay, there's yesterday's show. Here, let's switch to this one. Look at me in a suit. Would you check that out? I do clean up nicely from time to time. Yeah, check out yesterday's episode, Treason Most Foul. I'm sorry, 2 days ago. Yesterday was a travel day and some other stuff. Charlie Kirk saying the latest Yale youth poll confirms the trend we've seen at one campus after another. The youngest voters have turned sharply to the right. Yale found 22 to 29-year-olds favored Democrats by only 6.5 points. But kids of college age, 18 to 21, lean Republican by almost 12. The most dramatic generational political swing in history is unfolding before our eyes. Nobody likes woke. Nobody likes it. Maybe a couple of grifters on the side of, hey, if we can be racist and misandrist and anti-Christian and anti-straight, if we can just... I'm sort of convinced that it's sanctioned bullying is what you were encountering. People that didn't traditionally have the power to bully people, they found the ability to bully, and they became addicted to it. They became drunk with their own power to bully. That's what I think's going on. Gavin Newsom here is suing the Trump administration over tariffs, claiming they're unlawful and they're wreaking chaos. Yeah, that's not a that's chaos is their buzzword, and it's stupid to keep saying it. Yeah, shaking up the busted system to figure out how to fix it, that's not chaos, that's progress. Newsom is asking for $2.8 billion bailout from Medicaid for illegals, and California is facing a homeless crisis. Meanwhile, he's arguing about Trump doing nationwide tariffs. What a clown. Pam Bondi is suing the Maine Department of Education for the refusal to protect women and girls in sports and other private spaces from violating Trump's executive orders. Bravo. But can you indict Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and Joe Biden and Anthony Fauci already? Where are the Epstein files? Where are the JFK files? Bondi, come on. I can't be any more frustrated by your lack of action. You know, they are doing some good things, but damn it. Yeah, come on, get the big picture stuff. Benny Johnson, President Trump is meeting with Japan today to negotiate trade, military support, and tariffs. Actually, that was a little bit ago. Oh, I guess I got double the stories because I didn't do a show yesterday, so I'll move fast. Yeah, negotiating with Japan. We know that that's happening. Tommy Robinson, this is an administrator posting. He enters his 170th day in solitary confinement, and he received the news he'll be there until at least July. Meanwhile, jihadis who helped murder 22 innocent people at a concert are free to roam prison. Last week, committing a second attack on prison officers. What? Including the burning the face off a young female officer? So Tommy Robinson is speaking out about his nation being invaded by jihadis, and so he's sent to prison in solitary confinement. He made a film that investigated the other side of a legacy media whipped-up story, exposing the corrupt judiciary as he went, and he stood by its content, which offended the judges, which restarted his political persecution. So they're releasing the film here on X for you, the people to decide the truth. Britain's banned documentary silenced. Great Britain has fallen. Make Great Britain great again. Andrew said, any space nerds out there, can you understand how the Blue Origin capsule came back down without any re-entry burns? Was this a trajectory thing or some kind of superior material used? And here's the Falcon Crew capsule for comparison. All destroyed. It's a great question. That's a question of the day. Was the Blue Origin flight faked or did it happen? Kevin Sorbo says, after looking at this case, it's hard to take either side. This man was given asylum, this Gil guy, given asylum by an immigration judge to escape the gang in El Salvador. However, he married a citizen, had 3 kids, and was here for over 14 years. And he didn't take the time to even get a green card? So yeah, it's just a strange story. Benny Johnson reporting that from the New York Times, President Trump reportedly waved off Israel's plan to bomb Iran's nuclear sites next month and wants to make a deal with Iran to limit its nuclear program instead. Amuse reporting Secretary Rubio shut down the State Department's censorship agency, Counter Foreign Information Manipulation and Interference Office, formerly known as the Global Engagement Center, GEC, a bloated $50 million a year operation that instead of countering foreign threats, turned its sights on silencing the very Americans it was meant to protect. All full-time staff positions and 100-plus contractors. No more. That sounds good. You want to hear this case? The Carmelo Anthony family speaking out? Well, doesn't get much worse than what you're about to hear.
And all I'm going to say, so it don't be asked later, is that...
So it don't be asked later. Bro, you can put on a tie, but, like, you gotta... Wow. Okay.
Was disrespectful and just shows you all the character who was not invited.
This is the father of the deceased who these people are representing and fundraising off of because they killed a white guy. Hey, give me money. We killed a whitey. That's what they're going with here. I don't see any reasonable claims of self-defense. I'm not seeing any information yet that shows me self-defense. And he's trying to besmirch the character of the dad who went to the press conference to see what the hell they're talking about. What reason could you be up here in front of a press gaggle to try to say it was okay to kill my son? He's curious, so he shows up. And now he's besmirching the character of the father who wants to hear, what are you talking? I want to hear it.
The character who was not invited.
Yeah, you don't need to be invited.
He knows that is inappropriate.
Inappropriate? What's inappropriate is stabbing someone in the heart when you're told to move.
To be near this family. But he did it. And so I say to people, actions speak louder than words. Okay?
Well, your words just spoke louder than I could have possibly imagined.
What he has failed into is the political operatives that want to make this thing a political thing of hate, yet bigotry, and
make this thing a political thing of this. This is not a talented orator.
Yet racism. We have conservative operatives that have been posting nonstop about this case.
Oh, you mean people that don't think it's cool to stab somebody in the heart because they're told you're in the wrong tent? Get out of here. Like I said before, Sean Farash, yeah, the father was asked to leave, and guess what? He left without stabbing anybody. It's literally that easy. Matt Walsh responds, his son was stabbed to death. I'd say that was pretty disrespectful, you scum. Of course, there's yesterday's Strictly Football show. Check it out. Oh, geez. Something like this has never happened before. Patty Morin, Rachel Morin's mother, left reporters in the press briefing room so stunned by her story that they couldn't even bring themselves to ask any questions.
Any questions for Patty or for me? No?
I have a question.
No? Anybody? Okay. We'll see you all later. The president will be at his dinner later this evening. Thank you.
Thank you for being here this morning.
We really appreciate it. Thank you. Please, I'm so sorry for your loss. Thank you. Please tell the truth. Exactly. Tell the truth.
Mother of 5, her daughter absolutely abused and tortured and killed by an illegal alien that should have never been here. So forgive President Trump if one dirtbag, potential dirtbag, Maryland man who didn't get a green card after being here for 14 years, father of multiple kids, maybe a gang member, maybe not. If one case slips through the cracks, I think we're trying to stop more cases of Rachel Morin. So yeah, just to shut him up, give him another case and just double check. I'm hearing he was convicted, heard he wasn't convicted. If he's not, you got to show some proof more than an accusation that didn't go to court. But yeah, in the government's haste to protect all women from any more of this nonsense, a little bit of grace, a little bit of leeway.
Yeah. Tell how violent it really is. This is about protecting our children. It's more than just politics or votes or just anything. It's about national security, protecting Americans, protecting our children. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here.
That's a damn shame. Lee Corso's leaving College Game Day. Here's a classic moment.
Not so fast, midget. Not so fast, midget.
Wow.
Not so fast, midget. Not so fast, midget. Yeah, little guy. Hey, not so fast.
Wow.
Not so fast, midget. Not so fast, midget. Yeah, little guy.
When is he retiring?
Hey, not so
He's
fast.
he retire.
Not so fast, midget. Not so fast, midget.
In August?
Yeah, little guy. Hey, not so fast.
Okay, I'll sign
Not
off
so
in
fast,
August.
midget. Not so fast, midget. Yeah, little guy. Hey, not so fast. Not so fast, midget. Not so
Sorry,
fast.
I'm
midget.
looking at another
Yeah,
page and
little
it's just
guy.
playing on
Hey,
repeat.
not so fast.
That is one of my least favorite things about social media. When you leave something on, but you're in another tab, and then you're in a clip that just plays 1,000 times. Like, I don't need. David, let me even. David saying there's no need to have any weaponry to track me. Pied Piper says, why would anyone bring a knife to a track meet? Okay. Also, I carried knives years in a row. It always lived in the front left pocket. Always. I was in the garden all the time, it was a tool that I used. I never stabbed anybody. It's okay to have a gun. It's not okay to go to Florida State and just start squeezing the trigger, or to be in France running around shooting people in some Islamic attack. That's not okay. It's okay to have guns. It's great to have guns. It's great to have a knife. It's great to have knives. It's not great to be told to move and then stabbing someone in the heart and ruining your entire life and turning into a big nationwide race discussion. What if a white kid was sitting in the wrong spot? He was told to move by 2 black twins, the Hodge twins. And so he leaves all mad, like, how dare you tell me where to go? I told you not to mess with me. And kills a Hodge twin. How would America process this If I was the stabber and I took out a Hodge twin with the race thing, actually, the Hodge twin's not a great example because they're conservative and they're fair game, according to legacy media. But you get my point, right? Yeah, Lee Corso, you got to love him. And I think he started with the mascot thing with the Ohio State University Buckeye, which is pretty cool. This is Tucker Carlson getting very close to figuring out what happened on 9/11.
What began to make me wonder, and I have no idea what happened on 9/11, but it's very clear that there's a lot of lying around it, was the collapse of Building 7. And all the wackos would be like, Building 7, Building 7. I'd be like, shut up, wackos. And then if you just sort of look at it, you're like, well, that is very weird, actually. No plane hit that building. And does this happen a lot when buildings catch fire? Right, okay.
Besides being a firefighter, I work for the INA, largest insurance company in North America. I was responsible for training their fire protection, arson people for 18 years. That doesn't happen. You never have a 47-story building just collapse, which this did.
What began to make me wonder, and I have no idea what happened on 9/11, but it's very clear that there's a lot of lying around it, was...
Yeah, explain Tower 7 going down. They've tried to hide videos of the collapse. Tower 7 wasn't hit. Matt Van Swole here, starting to see a lot more of these logging trucks throughout Western North Carolina, and he sees that as a very good thing. President Trump allowed logging companies to start clearing some of the fallen trees from Hurricane Helene so they can use them for cheaper timber to rebuild the homes, and it's absolutely incredible. Good. Kenny Atkinson with a glowing review of Cleveland after making the city his home over the past year, calling it an underrated city in every sense, sporting sense, quality of life, etc. Cavaliers held the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference as they tried to win their first championship without LeBron James. And man, oh man, am I excited for that. Sure seems like the script this year, the script might be to go ahead and put LeBron James in the finals with the Cavs, getting him Luka Doncic in a very strange move. We'll see how it shakes out. Libs of TikTok saying New York Attorney General Letitia James is absolutely losing her mind after she was referred to the Department of Justice for alleged mortgage fraud. Does she sound nervous here? They think so.
My mission is clear.
Clear! Who talks like that?
My mission is clear.
My mission is clear. Does she talk like that? It sounds like she's channeling like this Hillary with the hot sauce in her purse and MLK giving a speech, like very overly animated and enunciated. I don't know what she normally sounds like, I will admit.
I'm focused.
Yep.
I'm prepared. I'm ready. I've been trained by the best. I went to Howard University that overturned legal segregation in this country. I've been taught in those classrooms where Thurgood Marshall once taught. I'm not afraid of no president. Donald Trump.
That's a double negative. That means you are afraid.
I'm not afraid of no president. Donald Trump, we're ready for you. We're coming for you. We're standing up for you. We're fighting on.
We're standing up for you, Donald Trump.
We're standing up for you. We're fighting on. We're not going down silent. Victory, my friends, is clear. It's now, and I'm not waiting for.
Oh, did she just do the hand maneuver? I think she just did an Elon.
It's now, and I'm not.
Oh, she did the arm. Look at she did the arm. No, her hand went up. She's a Roman soldier. Oh, she did the arm. Look at her doing the Elon. Cha-ching. Letitia James just committed a worse crime than all of her mortgage fraud. She raised her arm out to you. How dare she?
I'm not waiting 4 years. I'm waiting 2 until a speaker by the name of Hakeem Jeffries comes to bring us some rest. Come on, ladies. It's up to us. We saved this democracy before.
We're a republic, not a democracy.
We'll save it now. Let's go.
Yeah, you're going to go to jail. Cool. Mocking the fake space girls isn't going away or ending anytime soon. Look at this Blue Origin. Oh, I probably got to mute it.
Never left the atmosphere.
Wait, can I play this because it's a parody? We never left the atmosphere. Old broads in the sky. Nobody cared. Yeah.
Nobody cared.
I love the
T-Move, SpaceX, hilarious display. No chain involved, millionaires at play.
Well, kiss my grits. I feel like I've seen this movie before.
Fake astronauts, yoga pants, all in blue, still unaware that we're laughing at you. Hey. So retarded.
All right. Anyway, we'll just let it. Anyway, check out the video. I'll leave it on there. I don't want to get the copyright strike. Sarah Gonzalez reporting. RFK Jr. just announced the latest autism rates in 8-year-old children. 1 in 36 have autism. 1 in 20 boys have autism. 1 in 12.5 boys in California have autism. All right. California has the strictest V laws in the country. Can't even say the word. Go to cdc.gov/rumor control. Go to cisa.gov/rumor control. CDC and WHO websites, right? There's Letitia James. In here is Daily Caller.
I understand. We mean no trouble. We're just curious who the occupants.
The Daily Caller visits the home that New York Attorney General Letitia James listed as her principal residence, only to find that she doesn't actually live there. What's going on here, Tish? Letitia James, who brought forth a fraud suit against Trump for falsifying business records, allegedly falsified business records to get a more favorable loan for herself. The Daily Caller News Foundation visited 2 Southern Virginia properties at the center of the fraud and misconduct claims made against Tish James, found that she does not appear to be a resident of either home, according to the Daily Caller. Earlier this week, Fox News revealed that the Federal Housing Finance Agency sent a criminal referral to Attorney General Pam Bondi against James. Thanks to James' lawsuit against Trump, he was ordered to pay $454 million, which is currently on appeal. It only seems fair that she gets the same treatment.
Of the home are
Don't
because
worry
there's
about whose occupants. That's none of your business.
well there
You're
are
trespassing.
connections to
Okay, but
New
you're
York Attorney
trespassing.
General Letitia
That doesn't
James.
matter. You're trespassing.
Are you related to Letitia James?
trespassing. You're trespassing. Go in the house.
Do you know
You're
Letitia James?
trespassing.
No?
You're
Okay.
trespassing.
No comment. Thank you,
Don't
ma'am.
come up to my house no more.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. You have a good one. It's gonna be problems.
You will.
There's gonna be problems.
You will.
Threatening. That's a threat.
The driveway.
Hello there, ma'am. No comment? Okay, well, who lives here?
Who lives here, ma'am?
They're all been told to say you're trespassing.
comment.
Oh, they're busted. They're so busted. You hate to see it. Yep, there you go. Here's the GOA report of Tulsi Gabbard declassifying President Biden's secret plan to eliminate the Second Amendment in the name of counterterrorism. Van Hollen travels to El Salvador as Trump officials ramp up the defense of an illegal deportation. Roger Stone says, why hasn't this U.S. senator been arrested for violation of the Logan Act? It's illegal to conduct your own foreign policy. So there was a shooting at another high school, and this guy's rambling about it. I don't know. Not super interested in it. I just, I'm not gonna give him airtime, but it's there if you want to know about what's in this guy's brain, and it's not a whole lot. This is Giorgia Meloni defying the European Union, arriving in the U.S. to negotiate a trade deal on Italy's terms. The European Union is being dismantled, thanks to President Trump and Giorgia Meloni. Hey, by the way, how accomplished are you? Well, meet this 4-year-old playing Beethoven's Für Elise. She won first place at the World Championships playing this. There's nothing quite like something here to give you some perspective on what we're doing with our lives. Four-year-old crushed it. Wondering if YouTube's going to give me a copyright strike for a Beethoven song. Anyway, check that out. This guy has a message for white people. Well, here, let's just play it. Fine.
To all of the people who are against Carmelo Anthony, me as a black man in America, white people, I'm telling you and I'm telling you now, you ever even think to approach me, bully me, harass me.
So don't approach him. Any approach would be considered bullying or harassment because he's keyed in on this now.
Think you're going to be with your twin brother or twin whatever and do anything to me.
So don't do anything to him, including approaching him or talking to him, or else
I too will poke you.
He will end your life if you interact with him in any way.
As well. Straight to the heart.
A straight murder, this guy says to all white people.
And that's on self-defense.
No, it's not on self-defense. That's not how that works. No, see, I made a YouTube video. I told people on X that white people should never approach me or interact with me or else I'll pokey them. That's self-defense. I told them, they knew better.
This is not the Jim Crow era. This ain't 400 years ago. This ain't 1619.
Yeah, Jim Crow era. Knife at a track meet.
This ain't back in them days.
Them days where you couldn't kill people for no good reason?
Y'all don't want to end up like Austin. Leave black people alone. Y'all didn't play fair for 400 years.
Didn't play fair.
We ain't playing fair with y'all either.
So there's a payback, a retribution angle to the... Keep it in mind. Just be very aware that this message is out there. This is the Obama doctrine. He's been fanning the flames of racism, manufactured, invented racism for a long time. Laura Logan put this video out. For some reason, this interview resurfaced. She stands by every word. Katy Perry doing a music video about all sorts of spirit cooking. Just watch the video. I don't think I can even talk about it without being deleted on YouTube. So Posobiec is laying out this case. Let's get his thoughts on it. The Maryland man hoax.
Well, folks, the Maryland man hoax is breaking. Senator Chris Van Hollen has just landed, I guess, in El Salvador, where he's on his way out to, I suppose he's on his way for a special visit with Abrego Garcia. You know, he's there. I don't know if this is one of those, visits with special benefits. Maybe it's more of a first date kind of thing. Maybe he's not that kind of senator. Then again, he is from Maryland. So we'll see just how high his standards, if any, are. But the entire left is going in on this. The entire media, this massive political stunt is going on. And it is a political stunt to...
He's insinuating they're getting it on. Oh, shoot. Why did, man?
Yeah, this massive political stunt is going on, and it is a political stunt to be sure. By the way, this also proves once again that the Democrats are far better at political theater than Republicans, than conservatives, than even sometimes, look, we couldn't even get a guy to go to Fort Knox. We couldn't even get a guy to go to Fort Knox, but the Democrats will go all the way down to El Salvador. The only problem is, of course, once again, the Democrats are supporting a criminal. Yes, whether it's Luigi Maggioni or Carmelo Anthony or now Abrego Garcia, the Democrats just can't quit their love affair with criminals. And of course, as we've been explaining for years at this point, this is part of a playbook. The only problem is, of course, the Democrats have been running around saying, oh, this guy, he's so sweet. He's so innocent. He's kissed by an angel. But unfortunately, that's not the case, because his wife, who's out there giving all of these pleas, saying, please donate to our GoFundMe, please donate to our GoFundMe, she actually filed a restraining order on him in the state of Maryland. Kind of funny, by the way, how the entire media couldn't figure this out, and a local Maryland blog was able to pull it up, the Chesapeake Times, and so they're able to get it up. But nobody in the entire media was able to pull this together. She says she wants him home, and yet She kicked him out of the home and filed a restraining order on him. Or maybe, just maybe, it's all the money that's rolling in because she saw the money rolling in for Carmelo Anthony's family that they're using to buy new cars, that they're using to get a new house. And she thinks, I want to get some of that for myself. It's disgusting, but understand what you're looking at is a parasitic operation and a playbook that's been in place for a long, long time.
There you go, Maryland man hoax. Very curious to keep getting more information on it. And I think they need to just bring him back and hold a court case and make sure that he's convicted of the thing that he's being sent away from. I don't think that's as buttoned up as it's being presented as. Pam Bondi will review 25 years of mortgage fraud by Letitia James. The case stems from 25 years ago. Someone had to do some digging to find this, and I'm certainly thankful to whoever did the digging. And this is what she came after Trump for, messing around on payments and mortgages and nonsense, really. No victim, no crime kind of stuff. Yeah, it is. But actually, it's different because Trump paid his loan off in full, paid all the interest. Like there wasn't even a problem that they were able to come up with. They were just trying to lawfare him out of the presidency. Savannah Hernandez here saying district court judges keep releasing accused murderers back onto the streets of Texas with 900 released so far. Judge Hillary Unger of Harris County is one of these judges. She released 8 criminals via bond who went on to then murder innocent Texans. Recall this judge. Keep these violent people behind bars. The foster, this one, Unlimited L's, the foster father who adopted a black girl recalls being shot in the head and his wife murdered by her relatives, the girl that was fostered, who then kidnapped his daughter and planned to sell her. This guy testified he may have said something that triggered the attack, hit with a gun, shot in the chest. What the heck? All 3 suspects had guns. They ordered the 2 men call themselves a gangster. 2 people were killed. He survived and escaped to a neighbor's house. The suspects made the couple transfer money to this Vincent's bank account through Zelle. Their court hearings just happened, competency hearing, and they began fostering the girl in 24. Why is this story not getting attention? Oh, because the perpetrators weren't white. Is that what this one is? This is a terrible story. I got questions. I'm just learning about this story. I saw this and shared it. You know, they say no good deed goes unpunished, and that is a damn shame. Here's Lee Corso. Is this the first time he puts on the headgear?
All right, good pick. I can tell you one thing.
Brutus.
Buckeyes! Ohio State #1.
Brutus, baby. And look at that version of Brutus. Brutus's head has improved drastically since 1996.
They found a way to muzzle him. I take it, Lee. You like the Buckeyes.
I like the Buckeyes.
I like Ohio State 24-13.
That's funny. Wall Street Apes is asking, how is this not a national security threat and a health crisis? 60% of all pork is produced by one company in the U.S. that's 100% owned by Chinese. The Chinese. 4 companies control 80% of the meat industry in the U.S. More than 10,000 different additives allowed in the U.S. food supply. 99% of chicken, 95% of hogs, 78% of cattle in the U.S. are raised in confinement buildings or feedlots, meaning that they're not moving around freely. 80% of the antibiotics consumed in the U.S. are fed to animals. Jeez. In 2016, 18 million pounds of antibiotics were sold for livestock. And that's what you're eating. Suicide rates amongst farmers are the highest than any other profession, and that includes veterans. Believe it or not, I found that alarming, according to Sean Ryan.
You're going to pay for that?
This video here, people are getting tired of these things happening. Is this a Target, maybe? Maybe a Walgreens? I don't know where this is. But this guy's trying to walk out stealing, but it seems like people are fed up with it.
You gonna pay for that stuff there, buddy?
Well then.
Call the cops. Call the cops. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Relax. Go ahead, relax. Relax.
You can't do that. Yeah, you can't steal. You and your buddies, buddy.
You can't touch me, bro.
I ain't touching you. I ain't touching you.
You can't touch me.
You have been touched.
You can't touch me. You can't touch me, bro.
These people feel invincible, entitled to steal.
Stop, bro. Are you gonna sue me? Yes, bro. You're putting hands on me. Stop.
People are sick of getting robbed because
You
you
gonna
know
pay for
what?
that stuff there, buddy?
The prices go up and these stores go out of business. They're sick of getting looted. Here's the goofball who firebombed, allegedly, Josh Shapiro's house and a Marxist Free Palestine activist. Nut job. Looks like a cartoon character. Carmelo Anthony, the scammer and murderer. A lot of stories about buying cars, renting cars, buying homes, renting homes. I don't know what's real, but take a look at this report from Rob Smith. Yeah, Austin Metcalf's father was instantly out there, like, forgiving the killer. And then he goes on this weird tirade to get him out of the press conference. Ohio mayor tells entire school board to resign or face child pornography charges after the teachers gave a warning, gave children a writing to prompt. They were told to write a sex scene you wouldn't show your mom. So now the mayor is telling the entire school board to resign, or, well, they shouldn't resign or face child porn charges. They should face the charges. Here's the killer. Carmelo. Man.
All right. Come on, man. Just follow back behind us.
I don't understand why.
Just stay close, okay?
I just don't understand.
Say to the victim, to the family of the victim.
He had nothing to say. Dominique Alexander, a felon who beat a baby to the point of brain injuries and acting as an advocate for Carmelo Anthony's family, is angry that Sarah Fields exposed him for who he is, a grifting racist pot stirrer running a fraudulent organization. The man placed a target on her and her family for reporting the truth and investigating him and his organization. Please pray for them. Good grief. Is this, they're saying, Quartering is saying, this is the guy that shot up a place in Dallas, not the one at FSU? I don't know. 4 years ago, under Biden, Matt Gaetz and other Republican members were refused entry to the D.C. prison to conduct a constitutional oversight on how J6 prisoners were treated. So he says, yeah, crocodile tears. After Senator Chris Van Hollen was denied entry into CCOT, the notorious prison in El Salvador, where Mr. Abrego Garcia is being illegally held. More Austin Metcalf chat. Today in California, Jennifer Say is saying California, Oregon, and Connecticut, the #1 ranked high jumpers in the girls division are boys. Weird how it never happens, and yet here we are. This is so stupid. How embarrassing. Wall Street Ape saying that Harvard University gave Epstein an office after he was convicted of doing it with underage, like that's called rape, actually. $9 million to university Epstein allegedly donated, huh? Yes, Mike Ben's Global Engagement Center has been eliminated. The door opened here too quickly, and they had to close it again and pretend that they were opening it for the first time. So weird. These are some of the leaders across the globe who are trying to fight for some common sense. I'd like to see this list of leaders growing with strong leaders. Oh, yeah, this Deshaun guy. Raising money on GoFundMe. That was this other case.
Go ahead. Listen. Get down on the ground now. Lay down. Lay down.
So this guy fighting the cops, having an episode high or having a mental breakdown.
I'm a Jesus. I'm a Jesus. Please, dog. Thank you. I'm a king.
Well, anyway, you can watch that video if you want, but that's going right. That was this guy in the bottom left. And Wokeness says that body cams were BLM's biggest mistake. Hang on, let me full screen this. Body cams were BLM's biggest mistake. Frankie saying RFK needs to get on the food quality, etc. ASAP. Yeah, and the air quality. Stop spraying these fucking trails in the sky. I am so sick of walking outside and seeing checkerboard patterns up there. It's not natural. It's not okay. David doesn't eat pork? Why not? I just don't dig on swine, that's all. Pigs are filthy animals. Pigs sleep and root in shit. I ain't eating nothing, ain't got sense enough to disregard its own feces. Yeah, well, bacon tastes good. Pork chops taste good. Yeah, well, sewer rat may taste like pumpkin pie, but I wouldn't know because I wouldn't eat the filthy motherfucker. Question of the day, what movie is that from? First one to answer gets a theoretical gold star. But End Wokeness here says the body cam was BLM's biggest mistake. Because now in all these cases, you're finding out, oh, okay, so it's not police abuse. It's not police misconduct. It's the accusers causing these problems. Go figure. Go figure. What is this? The government just did the funniest thing ever. The White House just updated covid.gov. And they put lab leak, the true origins of COVID-19, the proximal origin of SARS-CoV-2 publication, which was used repeatedly by public health officials and the media to discredit the lab leak theory, was prompted by Dr. Fauci to push the preferred narrative that COVID-19 originated naturally. Look at this. They're laying out the virus possesses a biological characteristic that is not found in nature. 2, data shows that all COVID-19 cases stem from a single introduction into humans. This runs contrary to previous pandemics where there were multiple spillover events. 3, Wuhan is home to China's foremost SARS research lab, which has a history of conducting gain-of-function research, which is gene-altering and organism supercharging, at inadequate biosafety levels. 4, Wuhan Institute of Virology researchers were sick with COVID-like symptoms in the fall of 2019, months before COVID-19 was discovered at the wet market. 5, by nearly all measures of science, if there was evidence of natural origin, we would have already surfaced by now, but it hasn't. So yeah, you go to covid.com and it will tell you the origin. It's a lab leak. But by the way, don't call it a lab leak. It's a lab release. RFK Jr. completely shattering the media's favorite lie about autism. They say autism is rising because of better diagnoses, but RFK Jr. is saying, hell no. No, something is different. Something has changed. And that's why we unpack the news every day. What is this one? David saying there's bacteria in the lungs of the pig that's equivalent to the AIDS virus that can't be killed no matter how much you cook it or burn it. Yeesh. All right. Geez, maybe that's almost enough to make me want to stop having bacon. Almost. All right, I won't eat the lungs. That'll be my compromise. I will try not to eat the lungs. Although who knows what we're getting when we get processed sausage. So there's that. All right, that is what I had for today's show. Thank you all for watching. Follow us at all the places underneath that I mentioned earlier. If you want to donate, you know the places to do so. Patreon, The New American Media, Venmo at Brian Engelman, Cash App, $ Brian Engelman, Fuzz Installment is the @ on PayPal. That's at the bottom of the screen as well. Of course, countervailing views, make sure CISA.gov/rumor control. It's at the bottom. Countervailing views on health and elections, CDC.gov and WHO.int. Or you could go to the White House website. It seems to lay out a pretty good idea of what's going on. Although that's not the, not maybe what Google wants to hear, but it is what it is. All right, I'll be back again. Maybe not tomorrow. I might be off tomorrow. Once again, there's other things that are booked. I'll be back Monday with 2 shows for sure. Let's say that. I'll be back on Monday with 2 shows. So get out there. Have a great weekend, everybody. Signing out. Everybody in the chat room, Frankie and David and Pied Piper and everyone else. I appreciate you. I love you.